And a lot of the coins I cover, I don't think would even be interested in my promotion because they probably don't need it. And it's just sort of one of those weird, balancing acts where a coin only really needs promotion up to a certain point, and then it's like, you don't see the Jeb McCaleb's writing checks to influencers to promote Stellar, or Satoshi's not popping out, asking for an influencer shout out. I don't see any of that stuff going on with Litecoin. So, it's sort of like once coins reach a certain position in the community, they don't really need to be like shilled. But I do hear what you're saying is that you can't shut off the mechanism. It's just not what I want for my channel.
And just to push back a little, I'm sorry they were kind of ganging up on you, but I'll just from that. But my response to that is it's quite different promoting a physical product or something like that if a company comes to you, as opposed to an investment, like an actual investment vehicle. So if you're promoting something like a coin that can rise and fall in value versus like you will get this product and this is what the product does. I understand, like, yes, projects and talking about what they're doing perhaps, but money is coming into play that people can and cannot lose. Whereas if you buy a treasure or something, then you get the treasure and that's what it is. So yeah, I see a little bit of a difference between the two, but yeah.
Yeah, as a marketer, though, I think, and you mentioned some really good points. If you're a company and you think that you don't need marketing anymore, no matter how big you are, I think that's a really bad marketing decision, or a really bad decision by the CEO of that company or the CMO of that company, because Coca-Cola still has a huge advertising budget. The biggest companies in the world have the largest advertising budgets. The biggest companies in the world have the largest marketing budgets. And I think you're more of a shiller if you're only promoting the coins that have already become big, because now you're not really taking the time aside to say, hey, why don't I actually put my head down, read these white papers, understand token economics, understand what these white papers say, so I can, myself, and the reason I'm passionate about this is I have full-time analysts on my payroll every single day. The goal is to find projects that have value. And it's literally like finding a diamond in a thing of all sand. It's horrible. So
why do you need to find another diamond? That's my question.
Because I think it's important to find the right projects. Because when you find the right projects, especially if you have a network that can bring funding, then you want to deploy those funds to that project. And the majority of projects that are good that I've seen don't go out looking for funding because they're already working, they've already got funding, at least enough funding to start their amazing concept or idea that they've proposed. And that's just from my experience as an angel investor, that's my experience as a marketer, and in the sphere, I've seen the majority of the good companies that actually have something to offer, they're doing private funding, they're raising funds privately. They've got just enough to work on their project, and then the ones that are out trying to raise hundreds of millions, there's just no need for it.
So which means you are also investing in some of those projects?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so
yeah.
Which means those projects are coming to you and you will take a look, dig into it. Some of those are cool, then you will invest before anybody else.
Yeah, I mean,
sometimes.
As an investor, you always, if you find something that you feel is lucrative, yeah, absolutely.
Sure. Any of you guys do that also? Like invest in the projects, maybe. But how
I like to invest in projects, but I don't like to invest in tokens or coins. I'm sorry. I think I agree 100% funding. Yeah, of course, you need funding for anything, but it's what it's being funded. And I think it's very important to specify like what is being funded, not a token. I'm sorry. I'm a big, I guess I'm a big fan of not liking tokens. Yeah. So
same.
Yeah, I just think that most of this stuff is really disgusting to me. Actually, I think it's shameless. I think it's very shameful, I should say. I think it's like everybody's trying to be king of their own hill, and everybody wants their own coin. And because of the dangerous misuse of influencers, not saying anybody here, but in general, we've seen it be misused. It's a disgusting practice, and it's I understand why it is, and I understand the human nature of it, right? You have to. I get it. But there's other ways to make money. You don't have to make money in that way, but everybody wants the easiest path. They want the lowest hanging fruit. They want to put in no work. They want to trick people. They want to sit on their computer. They don't even have to move. They just have to think, and then the fingers move for them. It's really not cool. at all.
There's a big difference between investing in a company versus investing in the token created by the company. So one of the, and I'm gonna specify here one that I'm like, what are you doing? Was Kick Messenger. They did an ICO for Kin or whatever the hell they. So it's a free messenger platform that people use to contact each other, and they did an ICO to create Kin, a token that was just a currency only within their messenger. And so I look at something like that and I'm like, how many users of Kick Messenger were demanding to have a currency specific to that messaging platform? And on top of that, why not use any of the plethora of some of the top coins that are already existent and just say, hey, we baked in this feature into our messenger. Now you can use cryptocurrency here instead of now you can use our cryptocurrency that you have to buy.
Because of why would you want to participate in someone else's thing when you can be the creator and king of your own thing? And that's just a human nature, unfortunately. It's this side that sucks.
Yeah. And further to that point too, it's sorry, I'll pass it down after this point, but a lot of the people that were investing in ICOs this past year, they didn't put together that the success of the company is in no way correlated to the success of the token. So Kick Messenger is a perfect example of that. Kick Messenger could be a multi-billion-dollar company, and Kin, the token, could be worthless because there's no demand for the amount of supply that they've created. So there's this total disconnect, and people haven't put that together, and I think it's going to take time, but this year has been great for teaching a lot of those hard lessons.
Yeah, just to piggyback, and disentangling the two concepts, we talked about being approached to sort of shill, I guess, for lack of a better word, and then finding lucrative or quality investments, as Naeem explained. And I think that those are two very different concepts. So finding quality investments is, I think, what everybody's trying to do, both inside and outside the crypto space, whereas being approached by some random company that you don't necessarily believe in to work with them, that's a lot stickier.
Sure.
And I think they're two just very separate concepts.
Yeah, you guys are great. I was trying to ask more questions, but you guys have more. Just develop the whole questions and have the answer.
You're not needed here, Hardy.
I know. I'm like, okay, but I do have another question. As I work with a lot of entrepreneurs here in Silicon Valley, so okay, some people will promote, some people will think, okay, I will promote, I will believe what I believe, then I would just say that. And some people like, okay, I do invest, but I don't invest in tokens. And different style. Since you guys are social media kings right now, how do you suggest projects? Kings, yeah, queen, one queen, kings. Okay, how do you guys suggest projects? That's right. Ooh.
And the famous words of DJ Khaled, I like that.
That's cool. Hey, I didn't finish. Here, how do you suggest those developers? How do they should use social media to promote their own projects?
I can.
Let's talk about this.
Do you mind? Because it's really happened with CoinDaddy. Okay, so really, I did a talk about this a while back, and basically the premise is this: you want to piggyback off of like minor successes, like little by little. You meet people that are a little bit better than you, right? But you know what I mean. Please don't take it the wrong way. Like have more metrics that you desire for yourself, so you want to go with them, and you do something for them. Then you take that piece of press and you leverage it, or you take that piece of whatever it is and you leverage it onto the next thing. And I'll give you the best example. It's like CoinDaddy was built off of like one newspaper article. Like I took that and I stretch it to Vice, I stretch it to CNBC, I stretch it to Bloomberg, I stretch it to, I mean, pretty much every publication you can think of. But that's only because I told everybody all of the other stuff that I had going. So for a developer, now how is that applicable, right? Yeah. If they want to partner or whatever it is with like other interesting people, it's like your, that video game where you rolled over the thing and you got bigger. Do you guys remember that one? Katamari Damacy, I believe it was called. Yeah. So you get bigger. So you collect all of these like little things, these little morsels, and then you add it to your resume. But most people don't do that. Most people are afraid. They're like too humble. They're afraid of saying like, okay, no, I've done this, and I'm going to do this, and I want this. And I actually like those arrogant. I trust them more. than the person who doesn't tell me what they want. I think that's like very disingenuous. I don't trust those people. I want to know the person who like wants to actually like do things. So developers need to be more open about what they want, more open of sharing like what they're doing. In my opinion.
Yeah, in terms of using social media to promote your project, I think there's a good way to do it and a bad way to do it. And the good way to do it, in my mind, is to kind of use it to build a community. And to do that, you can provide value, answer interesting questions on people's mind, give constant updates, make it feel like they're with you in the journey to like build your project, sell your vision to them, and then not do anything, not take shortcuts like just spam with like referral links or other stuff that pisses people off. Just do it like slow and steady and get those really like loyal followers in your community, so that even though it's small, they can defend you, they can share with you organic discussions that really are organic, so they don't feel like insincere on like Reddit or other platforms, so that other people can say, oh, this seems pretty cool, maybe I'll join it too. And then slowly by slowly, you'll start to snowball and get a larger community and just like spread word of mouth, perhaps, which is probably one of the most powerful ways you can get your project exposure in this space.
Heidi, can you repeat the question again?
Yeah, what is the best way for engineers, projects, to use social media to promote their own projects?
That is interesting. I've actually talked to a couple of developers when I was in Chicago, and they talked to me about their project, and I talked to them, say, hey, you know, I asked them very, very important questions, but for them to use me for social media, or for them to learn how to use social media, I tell them to go to Steemit, because Steemit is usually the front of where people that's very intellectual in cryptocurrency just read articles. So if you can get someone to read your article instead of watching a video, I think that's a huge step, because it takes a while for people to read. It takes a lot of time, and in this world, we all are watching videos all the time. And I said, you know, start there, then you start a blog somewhere. Okay, you start a blog somewhere, you get people to read more, and then you pop up the videos. So that's what I think.
So you are suggesting people write instead of making their own videos to start with?
Yeah, that was a really good point. Written content, video content, audio content, I mean, you just have to find what fits for you. And I think if you're an engineer, you're a developer, and you want to build some sort of influence on social media, you just look at some of the best that have done it, like Charlie Lee, right? Charlie Lee has Litecoin, top 5 coin. How is it in the top 5? Well, guess what? He's posting on his own Twitter his thoughts, what everything means to him. It's not boring. It's his personal brand. And in today's world, if you don't have a personal brand, your company most likely won't be around for long, and there's obviously exceptions to that. But you look at the major corporations, you know, if I were to ask you who started IBM, maybe some of you would know, but majority of people won't. But if I say who started Microsoft or Apple, you say Bill Gates, you say Steve Jobs, because there's personal brands. And then you have to determine, all right, well, look how successful Microsoft and Apple is compared to IBM right now. And so I think having a personal brand behind your company is extremely important. And I think the next decade of successful businesses are going to be businesses that have a personal brand at the forefront and then have a company behind it.
That's a good suggestion.
That's really good.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think every business owner, especially product developers, imagine that as soon as they put it out in the world, oh, this influencer is going to love it. And why wouldn't they love it? Because in your mind, you've completed some kind of human need that everyone's going to want to satisfy. And the reality is you're faced with the same challenges of making your product, your idea known that these influencers were faced with, that these content creators were. And so, yeah, creativity is king. Understanding what the right path forward, whether it is more of a focus on technical writings or whether it's about creative sort of out of the box marketing. And then, of course, influencers that are in a position to deliver influence upon humans and make them act and buy and move. they have the choice of who they work with. So you have to influence them. You have to get their attention. It's not like they're just going to go, okay, cool, you know, like we were just talking about. So yeah, I mean, creativity, it's not easy. Your product has to be amazing, and then your approach has to be creative and a little bit novel. Obviously, having a great personal brand of a founder is very useful as well. So all those things, but it's not going to be just something that just happens because you have a great product and, oh, the influencers are just going to work with you because you made it.
It's also a double-edged sword, because if you have a front-facing persona that is taking on all these media relations, if that person has a misstep, a very public misstep, then it can work the other way.
Well, what happened to Trump? Did that work to his benefit?
Trump has the confidence to spin something like that, and I don't think very many people do.
I do marketing campaigns specifically geared towards negative connotations towards the influencer. I'll give you an example because I'm not under NDA for this one, but we had an influencer, and he made a rap song against another influencer. Then he already scripted the rap song that he wanted that influencer to rap against him, and then he had his already set, and that was their marketing campaign, and went viral. And everybody else thought it was just him rapping bad against this guy, and then this guy coming back at him with a crazier rap, and then him finalist. But it was all marketing, you know. And you look at the most successful marketing campaigns, you can actually do there are campaigns that cost so little but have so much visibility because it uses fear, it uses, you know, some of these things that, you know, like negative, because the human brain always goes towards negative if you know human psychology.
That's kind of like a Vince McMahon thing. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, look at the new Nike ad that came out that Coin Daddy had a meme of.
I was asked to not wear the shirt.
I mean, when you pick the right combination of elements, you get the sort of viral aspect, and that's, I think, what modern marketing really aspires to more than anything.
Yeah. So is that what you just talk about open source?
What about marketing? Who marketed Bitcoin?
We all did. We all did.
Oh, just
Every
I wanted to add something to this. So there's an example, another funny story. So there was a company that did a billboard, and they basically on the billboard said, "We now support Black Lives Matter." And because of that, everyone that didn't support Black Lives Matter were making a big fuss about it on social media. That right there was a huge marketing campaign for that company. I believe it was Nike. I think it was there was that recent one too with people burning Nikes. I don't know if you guys saw that, but people were burning Nikes because they were supporting. So now you're seeing companies starting to support groups because they know that the counter group is going to want to talk against them and market them for free, you know, because the smartest companies right now and the companies I work with, we do monetized marketing to where your PR doesn't cost you money. If you're paying for PR right now, there's a ton of exceptions to this, but for the majority of companies that just want visibility, there's so many ways to do it where it's either a break even or even a profit.
Yeah, this made me.
I would like to go on record and say that blockchains matter.
This made me think about like just so. So this made me think about like, for example, Tron CEO Justin Sun. He like to attack Vitalik a lot on social media.
Marketing genius.
So that's one of the ways you think other engineers can.
Why do you think he's so? I mean, he's like a marketing genius. every big, I mean, for the majority of these coins, they're all marketing. I mean, look at what Ripple did. They went on Ellen DeGeneres.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Why do you think he went off an interview? I don't think that was intentional, but I don't know if you guys saw the interview where Roger went off.
There's also, I've seen also there's usually two different type of ways. One company just pitching to each of you and give you guys money to say, hey, can you guys do the promotion? It's like really direct, but however, a lot of people don't like it. There's another way I've seen recently is like social media campaigns. For example, okay, we are having an influencer campaign right now. For example, one of the projects I've seen recently, they're saying like, if who did the best video for me will win 5 Ethereum or 10 Ethereum. Do you think that's something you guys like?
Contest work. You know what I see with a lot of these influencers and these companies, the mistakes they make. the majority of the companies don't spend their marketing dollars properly. They just don't know how. They don't know how to properly market their item, their product. But when I think of any concept, any company, if I'm looking to invest in something, or I want to come up with an idea so that I can give it to a CEO to go ahead and go and put to life, I'm looking at what is my marketing technique before I even think of what the actual product and use is. And then you look for what is going to change, what's going to impact. So, like, in my opinion, I think that most of these companies need to take a little bit more time to think about their marketing strategy, or go to somebody that knows what they're doing, you know, or you end up like we had a client, we did $3 million in PR, and then within 9 months, they burned $10 million, and they went out of business, had to let go of all their companies. Their whole company is done and bankrupt. So why? Because they didn't spend their dollars properly. And so it's just sad to see, but we're going to see more of it. And
Companies spend money on Google AdWords and also Facebook ads.
and Facebook ads is the most powerful platform in the world right now.
But yeah, so like it's just so crazy. So like, back to my question, do you think for that type companies through that campaign over there saying like maybe 5 Ethereum is nothing at this moment, for 5 BTC, who did the best video for me?
Here's the issue with giving out.
Participate?
Here's the issue with that. The issue with giving out like that is you're attracting the wrong people. You're attracting the people that don't have money, that aren't going to use your product. You know, and I say that from personal experience. I remember starting my YouTube channel and doing giveaways. And I didn't grow whatsoever. It did nothing for me. I just spent money, lost money. It was an expense on my payroll that I didn't need. And when I stopped it, it was because I realized people are being attracted. Like, I attracted the wrong people. And then when I was organic and I really developed a personal relationship with my audience, that's when I started to see real organic, fulfilling growth.
I actually don't like those design contests at all. I think it's not fair to the designers. I think you have these people that are very hopeful, and they're putting all of this time for the chance of being chosen. And then most of the time, like, every single person other than the one who was chosen was not chosen. So they just wasted all of their time. And I just don't think it's fair to lead someone on with that hope when you're only picking one. It's just not cool.
Yeah, and we have companies come and they ask for we have a ton of airdrop groups, right? You have 50,000 Telegram users, and we put an airdrop there, and lets you distribute tokens. And I will tell some of these companies, I don't think this is a good investment. To me, the money doesn't matter. It's just what matters is this going to be an effective use of your capital?
Okay, yeah.
And that's the problem that I see with all of these companies that have so much funds. And that's why the majority of companies that are raising the majority of these funds, they don't know how to properly disperse them. And that's so important when starting a company. You have to know how to disperse your funds properly.
Yeah, I think this touches on something that we were discussing earlier, which is a lot of the products in this industry, cryptocurrency, are actually coins or tokens whose application are not really direct products, but they're sort of mimics or other versions of currently existing tokens. And so, you know, I'll go back that, you know, what we need really are products that affect people, that actually solve problems in the world. And actually, when you have great products, that's a viral growth mechanic. That is publicity. When you have a product that changes people's day, that makes their day better. How many people found out about Uber through an advertisement? You find out about a great product because someone tells you about it, because word of mouth advertisement is always going to be the strongest. And we still are in our infancy as an industry where we don't have products that are making people go, oh my God, look at how much easier my day got because of this.
Yeah, I want to add, so let's say you're an actor in Hollywood and you're trying to be successful as an actor. You don't go to the parties where all the actors are, right? Because they're all looking for jobs. You go to the parties where all the producers are, right? And I think that's what we're seeing with a lot of these companies that are in the cryptocurrency sphere. They're spending money on marketing in the cryptocurrency sphere, when in reality what they need is, in my opinion, to spend their money on is micro influencers, not macro influencers. So macro influencers are influencers that have millions of followers. They cost way more money. But micro influencers, which by the way is where we're going to see influencer marketing go in the next 5 to 7 years, are influencers that might have 40 to 50,000 followers, all organic, in a specific hometown for a specific subject. So let's say you're a financial services company, an instrument, and you are trying to market your financial services product. Well, why don't you go to a micro influencers in the finance sector and then offer them the ability to do some sort of legitimate campaign? See, that's the other aspect. You have ICOs, here's $10,000, give me a video, versus, hey, why don't we build a long-term relationship and see how we can pay you out multiple times, but you also support us multiple times, and we build a relationship kind of like how I mentioned Monarch does with the majority of their influencers. And so, you know, I think that's really important right now. It's you got to go to the right parties, you know, and you got to go to the right people.
Yeah, if I can just add real quick, in terms of your question about contests, I don't think that would be really enticing or get the right crowds, like y'all said. But on the other hand, I think that done correctly, things like airdrops or bounties per se could be a good idea because you can get, I don't know, it depends on how you structure it, but it could be a cost-efficient way to get a lot of people into your project, to know about your project, and to make some sort of contribution, get their skin in the game per se, so they have a reason to like come back and join the discussion and get other people involved. So I think that is something that companies should potentially explore in terms of ways to build their community and get their word out.
I think also just to echo you saying micro-influencers, even further than that, really engage with just the regular everyday people that say, oh, this is cool, I like that, like actually be actively engaging as many people as you can, just the regular people that are using your product, because that turns into word of mouth, that gives you further reach. So yeah.
And I'm not putting down like the airdrop groups or the giveaways and stuff, but there's an overall marketing strategy, and these are just aspects of the overall marketing strategy. So for example, when you do the airdrop alerts, that could be useful if it's part of your visibility in your marketing strategy. So there's always the overall marketing strategy, and bam, visibility. Okay, well, you can go ahead and give them out, but that visibility isn't going to convert users. That's a whole different marketing strategy. That's going to take retargeting. That's going to take, you know, different aspects of marketing. So there's just, it's like a huge system.
Sure.
Yeah, and obviously, if you think about what the ultimate goal of someone who joins a contest, joins an airdrop is, it's not the product. You haven't sparked their interest in the underlying product. You've just gotten them to know about it, and really what they care about is the financial reward. Whereas if you look, you know, you use that as a visibility bucket, then you also have referral bonuses for people who are now inside the system. All of a sudden now people are hearing about it from their friends. You create different sort of social linkages. There's ways that you can promote products. I mean, really successful marketing is, as Naeem has been explaining, it's multifaceted. It's many strategies all working simultaneously.
Since we're out of time, I do have a very important questions for you guys. I need a quick answer for this. What is the best way so far for you guys to gain followers?
Just transparency.
Just be myself.
I found finding other people and collaborating a lot, cross-pollination of channels has helped.
Collaboration, okay.
Generally, just be yourself.
Be yourself. Collaboration.
For me, it's listening to my community and putting out content that they want to listen to or hear or learn about.
Customer.
Consistency, quality, and volume.
Okay.